Hey everybody! I have done a live once before and I figured I would try it out again today. I hope everyone's having an amazing Tuesday. And so I I was putting my finger on the button, I wasn't sure if I was gonna press it or not. And I feel like there's been something that I've been hiding from myself for a really long time to talk about to people in the public. I've talked to you guys many times before about being in recovery for an eating disorder, which is something that I've struggled with from a very young age. At the age of 14, I turned to food to basically just numb all of my feelings, to kind of, just hide from the real world, I guess you could say. I was bulimic for 9 years of my life, and I was in denial for such a long time about it. And when I graduated college, I turned to drugs, and I don't know why for such a long time I've been so ashamed to talk about it, because yesterday I'm so grateful. Yesterday was 7 years in recovery for me, and that's a milestone that I never thought I was going to hit, especially when I was in the height of my addiction. And part of me, while I was going through what I was going through, never thought that I was going to see the age of 22, 23, 24, 30. Thank you so much. And thank you. I really appreciate that. So what's crazy is for most of my life, or for most of my adult life, after college, I was in the corporate world. So for me, not being able to drink and not being able to do drugs was something that was really hard for me to talk about. And I always thought people would judge me. And what it all comes down to is I was actually truly judging myself because I was so scared of what the outside world was going to say. And thank you guys. And what it comes down to is being able to look yourself in the mirror and be happy with who you are when you put your head on the pillow at night. And when I was in the height of my addiction, I was just a scumbag, for lack of better words. And, it wasn't like I was doing anything to harm people, but I was so mean to myself. And that's what kept me stuck in the place that I was for such a long period of time. Again, I think I was born with it. I think I was born with the gene of being an addict. I think I am extremely proud of myself. Thank you so much. Live the truth. Love your content. Oh, thank you so much, guys. I don't know why, and it's really interesting because I always thought that coming out and talking to you all about having a drug addiction, would make people like me less. And, honestly, and I preach all about authenticity. I preach about having just shining your truth. And you guys need to know, I was a drug addict, and I struggled with it for so long. I couldn't go days or hours even without turning to drugs. And it was definitely something that I tried to keep hidden, and I lost a lot of things in my life. I lost relationships, I lost material things, I lost dignity. That's the most important thing. And I think, the reason why I decided to go into coaching, and everyone is all human and we all have our own demons, and this just shows us how more authentic you truly are. Thank you so much. So I started struggling with my eating disorder at the age of 14. And that was my first addiction, food. So food was my first addiction, and it quickly escalated. So I don't know about you guys, but or if anyone has ever struggled with addiction before, but as an addict, I was an all or nothing person. I still can be that way sometimes, which is, I'm that's just the nature of the beast, right? So it was like an all or nothing thing. So I struggled with bulimia, I was binge eating, sometimes it went over to anorexia, and I was just never truly happy in my own skin. So my addictions truly started at the age of 14, and it was because I was born with a chronic illness. Since I quit weed, I'm proud in hearing you say that. It's so authentic. Yeah, and look, you know, whether you're struggling with weed, whether you're struggling with prescription pain pills, whether it's Adderall or cocaine or whatever it is, or heroin, you know, you're still struggling with it, and it's a mind and mood altering thing, and it affects the way that you live your life. And food was my first addiction, and I know a lot of people struggle with eating disorders, and for me, like, having an eating disorder was something that I felt like was more socially acceptable. But what it came down to is that was just like my gateway drug, right? And for me, when I graduated high school, I like went off to college, I plummeted. But by plummeted, my disease, I come from a family of addicts, and it's amazing that you have overcome it. And look, I haven't overcome it, right? Like, I'm in recovery, right? And when I'm in recovery, that doesn't mean like I've all of a sudden like I've been cured. But what it means is like why I preach to you guys like about positivity and self-acceptance all the time is because as an addict, I'm someone who shames myself all the time. I look in the mirror and I tell myself I'm ugly. I look in the mirror, I tell myself I'm not good enough. And and I don't want to feel that way. Like, I just remember the last day of my using, I was staring at myself in the mirror, high as a kite and drunk as a skunk, just looking at myself, like with the mascara coming down my face. And I remember exactly what I was wearing too. I was wearing this bright, actually, I don't even think I was wearing the green blazer anymore, but that night I was wearing a bright green blazer. I had like my eye makeup on. I had this crazy necklace, and I felt so empty and energetically drained. Like, I had locked myself into my own personal hell. And someone asked what my drug of choice was, and it was cocaine, and also you know, like any sort of amphetamine and anything to bring me down from that. So I just remember staring into my own eyes in the mirror, like with the mascara, thinking like, how the fuck did I lock myself into this hell? Like, I just felt hopeless. I felt helpless. I felt like I couldn't go on anymore. And I was just so nasty to myself. And I was just so mean to myself, and I couldn't live that way anymore. And that was like the start of my journey into personal development. I love you back. It's okay. Go ahead. So that was like the start of my journey. Like, after I came out of that, my rock bottom, I remember just not wanting to live anymore. And I had gone to a rehabilitation center a couple times, and that was my last time going to a place down in Tennessee, which if anyone is, struggling, just hang on. There is another way. There is another way of living. And guess what? Like, my life wouldn't be like this today if I was still using. It wouldn't be like this. And it just takes one right choice. I'm Jewish, so no, I was not a Christian. But it just takes one decision to put yourself first. And I know, like, when you're using, you don't have a choice because you are addicted, and you just keep going down that cycle of self-sabotage. And I'm so lucky, and I acknowledge the fact that that I have been blessed to be able to go away and get help. And I thank you so much. And my life has never been the same. And I'm so grateful. And like yesterday, the reason why I decided to do this today, and like, I swear I was like about to press the button. I'm like, no, you can't do it. No, you can't do it. But yesterday was April 6th, and April 6th is my clean date. And it's such a like an emotional time for me because I remember like where I was 7 years ago, and it wasn't here. That's for sure. It was at my absolute rock bottom, and I just can't believe that that was me, you know, and at the same time I can believe that that was me because it's just like one wrong decision, right? So I have gotten a couple messages from people before, like, if I go out and want to hang out and party and all this stuff, and like, I don't party, I don't do any of that stuff. I go out and I have a great time just being sober and being clean and not having to turn to drugs for anything. So you are so strong and should be proud of everything you have overcome. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's definitely been, not every day is easy. Look, I'm human just like all of you guys, and I have a human experience. I have human days where I have, you know, responsibilities and I feel like shit and like I don't feel enough. And like when I decided to come get into the personal development field, it was kind of just like a natural progression for me. And what I realized, like when I was working in corporate, is that I would always come home feeling energetically drained in the same way that I would feel like as if I was like using drugs. And I didn't like the way that it made me feel. I didn't like how I felt unvalued, and I felt like I wasn't enough, and like no matter what I didn't feel good enough for me. So like I knew something had to change because I didn't like the place that I was in. And like, look, from the outside looking in, like things looked really good, right? They always looked really good. Like I was really, really good at putting on that mask, you know, that social mask that all of us wear. We all have like a million different ones. We have every kind of mask you could imagine. So I was really good at wearing the mask and pretending that everything was okay. But what I was really pretending, or at least trying to pretend, is like that I wasn't me. I was just trying not to be me. And it's like I'm just so grateful to like have the sun beating down on my face right now, and to like just have all these beautiful things in my life that are amazing. And I want you to know that if you're struggling, hang on, and there is another way for you. And if you need help, ask for help and it will be there. There's NA meetings that I love and I attend regularly. There's OA meetings for those of you struggling with an eating disorder. And if you know someone who's struggling, like, tell them about NA. If they're not ready, then, you know, maybe one day they will be. And if you feel like you're at a low point in your life, that you're not struggling with any sort of substance abuse or eating disorder, there is another way for you too. Like, it's not just somebody who is struggling with addiction that has to find a program. Like, there's that, and that's why I chose to come into life coaching, because like I have been through a lot in my life. And for people, sometimes people send me messages like, what have you possibly been through in your life? And you know what? Screw you, because you're the one that needs to find the help if you're going to bash someone else for wanting to follow their dreams. And like I'm just grateful today. I'm grateful to be able to help other people follow their dreams. I'm grateful to be clean today. I'm grateful that I was able to find help when I needed it most. And I'm also grateful for all of my experiences, because I believe that it has helped me see things a lot more clearly, and also to guide people in a way that like maybe somebody else wouldn't understand. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. Hit the subscribe button. I'd love to see you here. Share this if you think somebody can use this to find help somewhere. If you're here because you love me for, you know, the coaching or whatever it is, I have a free webinar coming up on Thursday. You can sign up for that if you head on over to my Instagram page. The link's in my bio. And there's lots of exciting things coming up. I wanted to just put this out there, because if there's just one person who can benefit from hearing that, like, if you're at a low point, you can find your high, like, and it doesn't have to be with drugs or alcohol or any sort of food. and it's an energetic high. Like, if you guys have watched any of my tapping videos, I know this is really like off topic, but I had a client that I worked with this morning and we just did tapping, and we were both like done with the whole sequence, and I was like, I literally feel like I'm floating right now. I feel high, and it was amazing. You're so welcome, Katie. I hope you all have an amazing day, and I do plan to come on here and talk more regularly about some of the things that I've struggled with in the past, and that, like, if you're struggling, that doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're human, and it means you have a choice. How did you reach that point of knowing you need help? My brother is at a low point but doesn't think he needs help. Our family is distraught. Yeah, so for me, I had gone away to rehab because my family made me go, and I was in complete and total denial. So for me, it didn't work. I came out of rehab and I never found recovery at that point because I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to stop. I wasn't ready to admit that I had a problem. Everyone else had the problem, not me. They were all wrong, not me. So I kept using, and I kept it a secret. And I remember the last day that I knew I needed help was the last day that I went out and got high and lied to everybody about who I was with, what I was doing. And when I came home from my wonderful night out, my mom was mad at me, my sister was mad at me, because I had lied to them, and they had every right to be upset with me. And my Brett broke up with me, and I just literally looked in the mirror and I felt like I was just stuck in hell. So when I looked in the mirror, I didn't even recognize who I was anymore. And it was like at that moment that I had a choice, and it was either like one thing or another. And at that point I had decided that I was just like, I wanted to die. And that's when I knew I needed help, because I couldn't stop using on my own. And I knew that every time I put that drug in my body, that it was making me feel like I literally wanted to die. So for me, that was what it took to know that I needed help. And then someone else said, you're beautiful, your positivity is amazing. Yeah, we all have a past. Thank you so much for saying that. And I have addictive personality. I survived after being addicted to learning and running a business. Yeah, I mean, look, I would be, if you put me in the room with a microwave for too long, I'll get addicted to the microwave, It's like if you're an addict, you have an addictive personality. It's just who you are from the inside, right? So that's why it's really important to stay really vigilant and cognizant of what your actions, attitudes, and behaviors are on a regular basis. And if anything's making you feel some sort of way, and if it is, what are you going to do to change it and get out of that feeling of ickiness, for lack of better words. So yeah, I mean, so that's my story, guys. And I never thought that I was gonna just be on here and talk about it, just because I was ashamed. I am ashamed. I was ashamed about my past, and I thought that it meant that people were gonna judge me because and I was saying this yesterday, I never thought when I was a little kid that people would be calling me at the age of 32 congratulating me because I stopped using drugs. And but at the end of the day, it's that's a huge freaking milestone, especially for someone who can't stop, and I'm so lucky that I have family that supports me, and so lucky that I have my family that has never turned their back on me despite everything that I had gone through. I have such a supportive and wonderful husband and sister and mom and dad, and my whole family supports me, and I feel so grateful for that, because I know how hard it is for people who may not have the support. I mean, I haven't experienced it, but I can totally get it, because I've also been in a place where I cut everybody out, and that wasn't a great place to be either. Yeah, so if you're new here, press the subscribe button, hit the like button, let me know what kinds of things you want to see. I figure we're all in this together right now, and it's a very revealing time in the sense that like we're sitting alone, we're talking to ourselves, we're doing some inner work, and maybe somebody needed to hear this today, that like you're not alone and there is hope for you, and there is like stuff on the other side of how you're feeling right now. And on any given day I can revert back to those like feelings of shittiness, right? And that's why it's really important to kind of just like be really present all the time and understand how you're feeling and make conscious decisions to change those self-sabotaging thoughts. So I hope you all have an amazing day. Thank you so much for all of the love and support. This was really hard for me, but I'm feeling really good. Love you back. I hope you guys have a great day, and maybe I'll do another live video tomorrow. Oh, and for those of you here for the coaching, I'm going to put a link down below so that you can register for the free webinar on Thursday. So I hope you all have a beautiful day. I hope you're all staying safe, and wash your hands. I am proud. I am. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody. Have an awesome day.